Hello everyone, it's Sandra and welcome to today's video. Today's video has been on my list to make probably for years and I just never got around to it, but today is the day. Today we're doing a full face of Armani Beauty. I'll be talking to you about my must-haves from the brand, hits, the misses, stuff that I personally think you can skip out on, stuff that I think is just really, really special from the brand. Almost everything on my face is Armani Beauty. I'm putting it all on for you in this video, and I'll be chatting through all the Armani makeup products that I have right now and kind of my experience with them. And I will start with foundation. Luminous Silk is the first Armani Beauty product I ever bought. It's been, oh my god, probably 10 years now since I first dove into this foundation, and it's been a product that has been in and out of my makeup bag over the last 10 years, and it is a cult favorite for a reason. Especially I think makeup artists really like this. The way this photographs and the way this looks on video is just really, really special. And I also think that it is suitable for a wide range of skin types. Also skin tones, they have a really great shade range. I use this in shade 3.5 and they describe it as a light to medium with warm olive undertones. So it's kind of hard to find light to medium foundations that have some olive undertones, so I do appreciate that about this. I would say this is like a solid medium coverage foundation. The only gripe that I have with this foundation is that it doesn't last that well on my skin, especially in the spring and summer. This is like a special occasion, fall, winter foundation for me. I do have combination oily skin that leans to a bit more on the oily side in the summer, and this just doesn't last that well on my face. But if you are somebody with more normal skin, somebody with drier skin, I think you would absolutely love this foundation, and you probably have tried it already because this has been a cult classic and so many people have been talking about it for years and years and years. In terms of the other foundations I've tried in the Armani universe, the one thing that I've learned is never get emotionally attached to any foundation that Armani makes that's not Luminous Silk, because it will get discontinued and it will break your heart. The other foundation that I have is, I don't know, this probably is discontinued or it will get discontinued at some point. This is really, really hard for me to get in my shade nowadays, but I do have to just kind of give it a shout out, give it an honorable mention. This from my skin type is my favorite Armani foundation. It's the Armani Cushion. This was not released in the United States. It was like on Nordstrom for a while, a couple years ago, in 2 shades, just something silly like that, and then it kind of came and went. In Canada, I first bought this when I was living in Canada, so I bought this, oh my god, 3-4 years ago now, in Canada, and I have this in shade 4.5. Recently, I saw the refills available on Sephora, on the Canadian Sephora website, but they only have refills in 3 shades, neither of which was my shade. I don't know. This foundation is a mystery. It has strange distribution, a terrible shade range, and it seems to only be available in select geographic locations. If you have like fair to light medium skin and you live in a geographic area where this is sold, like this would be worth checking out, because this for me is like a little bit lighter coverage than Luminous Silk, but it has a lot more longevity on the skin. It's such a beautiful foundation, but it's got some issues, that's for sure. I also wanted to give an honorable mention to the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Primer. This is a product that I have had before. A really great primer. Again, for me, for fall and winter, it's a hydrating primer, but it was very lightweight, and it's a great primer to try if you're somebody that struggles with surface dryness, some dry patches. It really kind of helps smooth things over without actually overloading the skin and making it too oily, but it just kind of hydrates just in the right places. Right now, for me, the Merit Glow Skin, what's it called? The Merit Great Skin Glow Serum has replaced it. That has kind of, it does the same thing. I'd say the Luminous Silk Primer is like something that's like a nice to have. It's nice to check out, but for me personally, I've kind of replaced it in my routine. Next up, concealer, and I have 2, I think these are the only concealers that Armani makes right now. In the makeup graveyard of my mind, the Armani Master Corrector. I don't know if any of you remember that, but that was like the corrector for me. I used to love that product so much. And it came with like It had a very, very thin brush, and it was just the perfect corrector to use under the eyes to kind of neutralize any darkness. That's like a sweet, sweet makeup memory for me. That was a must-have for me for many years. Anyway, back to present day Armani. We have two concealers, and I adore both of these. I've repurchased both of these multiple times. Starting with the Luminous Silk Concealer, this is the concealer that I am wearing under my eyes today. I wear this in shade 4.5, which is pretty neutral, I would say. And it's the perfect under eye color for me. This is a really great everyday under eye concealer for me. It doesn't have a lot of coverage though. I would say this is like a light to medium. It's really thin, it's easy to stretch, and it has the most beautiful luminosity. This definitely lives up to the Luminous Silk name. I find that this is more luminous on the skin than the foundation, for example. And if you're somebody with more mature under eyes, with dry under eyes, but you don't need a lot of coverage, this is an incredible concealer. This is one of the most undetectable concealers I've ever used under my eyes. I love this. It wears really nicely. Two, as always, I set it with my powder, my Givenchy powder, and I just love the way it looks. I do usually use a different brand corrector underneath if I find that I wake up and the situation is pretty dire under the eyes. Sometimes pairing this with a corrector kind of helps almost give the effect of more coverage. But today, for the sake of this video, I did not use a corrector. I just used this concealer by itself under the eye so you can kind of gauge the coverage and the finish, and then I set it with my Givenchy powder. This is a beautiful concealer. For days in which I want a little bit more coverage, the Power Fabric Concealer is fantastic. I have this in two shades. I have this in shade number 4, and this is the shade that I use under the eyes. This has more of a peachy undertone. And then I also have this in shade 4.5. 4.5 has an olive undertone, and I like to use this concealer around the center of my face. Like the olive undertone, that green, kind of helps conceal any of the redness that I can get in the center of my face. So this is a great product for that. I don't use this color under my eyes though. This is more for like general face concealing. This concealer has more coverage than the Luminous Silk Concealer, has more of like a satin finish. Again, it's very, very, very thin, very easy to spread. I'd say this is like a medium plus coverage concealer. It's not full coverage though. So again, if you need something that's fuller coverage under the eyes, you will be disappointed by this. This is like medium plus at best. I do not have any setting powder from Armani. I did have one of their powders at one point. It was the Neo Nude powder. In recent years, they moved it to the Luminous Silk range. It's the same powder, but it used to be called the Neo Nude powder, and now it's the Luminous Silk powder. It was nice, but again, it's not a must-have in my book. It's not a product that I repurchased, but I did really like it. It was just a nice powder with a little bit of coverage. For me, the Neo Nude blushes are absolute standouts from the brand. I am so smitten with these products. They are so unique and they're multi-purpose. They are it's like a cream to powder, very balmy texture. And they have these in beautiful shades, but they must have supply chain issues because the shades, a lot of them are sold out. They go in and out of stock quite quickly. It's hard to kind of catch the whole range in stock. I have two of them. The first is the shade Warm Coral, which isn't really coral. This is almost like a terracotta shade. It's a really beautiful shade if you're into orangey tones. It's a beautiful summer color. It's just that like burnished summer to fall sunset type of shade. My personal favorite is shade 20, which is called Cool Brown. This is the one that I'm applying today. I'm applying this on my cheeks and on my eyes. This is like the ultimate one and done product for me, and I'm trying not to get too emotionally attached to it because I know how Armani Beauty works. I've been burned by them before, and you know, I know they like to discontinue stuff quite often, but this is like one of my favorite makeup items of all time. And I bought this completely impulsively in the Sephora sale last fall. They had this in stock at my local Sephora, and I just got to swatching and I just fell in love, and I've been kind of riding that train ever since. This as a blush and this as an eyeshadow. It's one of my favorite blushes and one of my favorite one and done eyeshadows. I think it's sold out right now, so I'm sorry. I will try my best to find it in stock. If I can't, follow me on Instagram, because you better believe the second this gets restocked, I will be putting out a PSA. And then speaking of eyeshadow, on top of the Armani Neo Nude in Cool Brown on my eyes, I apply a little bit of the eye tint in shade number 11. Now this was called Rose Ashes for the longest time, but recently I saw that it's been renamed. I think any change that has been made has been pretty minor. But anyway, shade number 11 is such a favorite. I also really like shade 44. I don't have it right now. I actually used it up and I didn't repurchase it because it's rose gold and I've got a lot of rose gold eyeshadows right now. Shade 44 is a rose gold that's a little bit more impactful. It's got a stronger metallic finish. The shade 11 is more of that subtle shimmer finish, and I describe this as my eyelids but better. It's a very, very soft and subtle rosy bronze with almost like a slight green shift to it. On my skin tone, it's just enough impact, and it just looks like something special is going on, but it's still really, really soft and subtle. Another eyeshadow favorite that I have is the Armani Eyes to Kill Stellar. This is in shade number 2, which is called Halo, and this is so stunning. It's like a metallic taupe color. The formula itself is very bouncy. It's like a mousse. It's like a condensed mousse cream eyeshadow formula, and I've had this for a while and it has not dried out. This is a gorgeous one and done color as well. It works beautifully on its own. My personal favorite way of wearing it is like as a topper, but it is just the most gorgeous, smoky, reflective taupe. Honorable mention goes to this quad, which unfortunately is discontinued. I don't know if they're working on kind of rebranding and relaunching the quads at some point, but I have to give this a shout out because, you know, although it's gone, it's still in my memories and I'm still continuing to use it in my makeup collection. This is the Eye Quartet, I believe, in shade number 2. Eye Quattro, that's what it's called because it's Italian. Eye Quattro in shade number 2, Avant Premiere. But Avant Premiere is French, so I guess we are getting a world tour here. Such a beautiful color story, and the formula is really, really nice as well. They do eyeshadow products really well, and it's kind of like a hidden gem in the collection because, you know, when we think of Armani, again, we think Armani Luminous Silk, we think complexion first, but there are some real hidden gems in the eyeshadow lineup. I also want to mention the Armani Eyes to Kill mascara. That's like a pretty famous mascara from the brand, and I personally don't like that mascara. It's just like it's a volumizing mascara, and it was quite underwhelming. I've tried the waterproof version. It was fine. I tried the regular version. It was fine. That actually smudged on me. I just personally think that there are better volumizing mascaras on the market, and most of the time they are at lower price points than the Armani price point. In terms of bronzer, I don't have a standalone bronzing product from Armani, and I don't even think they make one anymore. I vaguely remember them having something called Sun Fabric, but I'm pretty sure that's been long discontinued. In terms of highlighting, Armani has the fluid sheers. These have been out for a long time and they are absolutely beautiful. They're liquid highlighters. You can wear them under makeup, you can mix them with foundation, you can wear them on top. They have a really, really elegant formula. I have 2 shades. Shade number 2, which is like a traditional highlighting shade, and I like this, but I don't love it. I still think that, like, in terms of highlighters, standalone liquid highlighters, I personally prefer the Lisa Eldridge Elevated Glow. That one's just like a little bit more juicy, a little bit more refined than this. Not to say that this isn't refined, but the Lisa Eldridge one is just like a little bit better in my opinion. The shades and the blushy types of shades in this formula are standouts for me. And shade number 11 is so gorgeous. This is a beautiful blush topper, and this also just works as a standalone blush for me if I want just like a really, really, really subtle, again, it's like a rosy bronze. If you're fair, you can get away with this as like a liquid blush. If you have a deeper skin tone, this would be a beautiful highlighting shade on you, or just a blush topper for everyone. You can kind of just wear your favorite blush or bronzer underneath and then add this at the tops of the cheeks for like a little bit of rosy bronze sheen. It's not a super intense highlight. It's not super metallic. It's just, it's very soft. It's very subtle, kind of in line with the Armani brand. We're almost in the home stretch. Let's talk lip products. This is the Giorgio Armani Smooth Silk Lip Liner in shade number 12. This has been a favorite of mine for many years. My friend Dina actually introduced me to this lip liner, probably in one of the yearly makeup favorites videos that we do, and I've been kind of religiously buying it ever since she turned me on to it. I think this is now discontinued. It's a beautiful mauvey pink, so great for kind of just extending my natural lip line a little bit. It matches the natural pigmentation of my lips really well. In terms of color, the closest color that I have to it is Makeup Forever 3C Aqua Liner. They are almost identical, so that's why I'm not like too heartbroken over this, because I know I can kind of get the same look with Makeup Forever 3C. There are so many incredible lip liners nowadays, and the formula itself was really good. Kind of similar to the Victoria Beckham lip liner formula, but yeah, I'm not going to talk about it too much in case it is just gone forever and you can't get it anymore, but obviously had to use my Giorgio Armani lip liner with it. This is one of the newest launches from the brand, and it's the Lip Power lipstick, and it's not too matte, it's not too shiny. It has the perfect amount of pigment. It's really buildable. It's very thin but balmy and so comfortable on the lips. They have a ton of different shades. I received this from the brand. This is shade 102, which is a little bit too pale. Too pale for me. I do need to wear a lip liner with it. I love the shape of the bullet. It is so great to get that precise application. And this is a gorgeous pinky beige. So if you like this type of tone, like a nude pinky beige lip, then shade 102 is wonderful. It doesn't smell like anything, which is nice because some of the older Armani lipstick formulas that I had tried in the past had a very strong rose, like a soapy rose scent. So it's nice to see that they've kind of phased out those products, and the new lip products that they have been launching have been fragrance free. So that's always nice. Lip Power lipsticks get a big thumbs up from me. Honorable mentions to the Lip Maestro. The Lip Maestro is a really comfortable liquid lipstick. It has a velvety finish and it never feels drying on the lips. It's not as long wearing as a traditional liquid lipstick, but it is so much more comfortable. The reds that they do are so stunning. This is shade 415 called Redwood. This is one of my favorite reds in my makeup collection. If you like NARS Cruella, that was like my favorite red for a very long time. This has replaced it. This is very similar. It's almost identical to NARS Cruella in terms of color, but the formula is so much more comfortable, and it's just that perfect velvety finish on the lips. I love to wear this in the fall. Doesn't smell like anything, and it just has a really nice applicator that you put on. Back in the winter, I did a reel on my Instagram with my favorite red lipsticks, and this was in there, and I will kind of insert footage of that on the screen so you can see what this looks like on my lips. Same with this. This is the Rouge d'Armani matte formula. This is very similar to the Lisa Eldridge matte lipstick formula. So it's very pigmented. It's very thin and very lightweight, but it is a little bit drying. So this is like a velvet finish on the lips. This has like a little bit of a sheen. This is like total matte, total drama, total impact. But as long as you exfoliate and moisturize your lips prior to application, this won't like suck out all the life of your lips. So it's still relatively comfortable in the realm of matte lipsticks. This is in the shade 400. 400 is the iconic Armani red. Red and black are like the brand's signature colors, and 400 is the Armani red. It's very beautiful. In terms of my lipsticks, this is like the coolest toned red lipstick that I have, and anytime I wear this, I feel like a bombshell. This is like such a dramatic red. Very chic packaging as well. I guess, you know, red and black is the theme. So those are all the Giorgio Armani makeup products that are currently in my collection. I have tried so many of them over the years. I've also had the pleasure of working with them in the past, which was like such a YouTube career highlight for me. One more note in terms of makeup, I wanted to talk about new releases and stuff that's coming out now. I noticed that just this past weekend, Giorgio Armani launched the Luminous Silk blushes here in the United States. They've been out in Canada and in Europe for a little while now. And I had mentioned, I think in one of my anti-haul videos, that they will have to be really, 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 really special for me to bite the bullet and buy one of them, because I have a lot of blush. I have too much blush, one would say. If you've seen my blush collection video, you will probably agree. So the blush has to be really, really, really special in order for me to kind of justify it having a place in my collection. And right now, the colors that have launched are just kind of leaving me a little bit underwhelmed. Like, not saying they're not beautiful. I think that if any of the colors speak to you, I definitely think that it is a formula worth checking out, because they seem to be really long lasting, really beautiful on the skin, very flattering textures. The initial press release had 8 shades. In the United States though, as far as I know right now, they're exclusively available at Sephora. They only launched 6 shades, and they launched 5 shades at Sephora in Canada. And it's not all the same shades. So Canada has like a shade that I haven't seen in the US and vice versa, which is interesting. I always wonder like what the thought process is behind these types of launches. And I will link some reviews that I've watched from other creators that I found really helpful in informing my decision not to buy any. So I will put the links to the videos that I watched below, because I think that they will be really helpful. For me personally, I was the most drawn to shade 50, which is like a peachy pink with a really interesting gold sheen, a gold shift to it. Unfortunately, not all colors have that sheen and shift. The other ones look to be pretty standard, like satin, but that one particular color has this really interesting sheen to it. But I already have a peachy pink with a gold sheen in Pat McGrath Nymphette, and I really love that blush. Like I you know how I feel about Pat McGrath blushes. I can't justify buying the Armani version of like the same color. That's my long-winded justification for not buying any Armani Luminous Silk blushes, but who knows, maybe they will expand the range as time goes by, and if something catches my eye, I will revisit it at a later date. Before we wrap things up, I do want to talk about fragrance, because it is actually a pretty strong, pretty significant portion of the Armani Beauty brand. And I have 3 of them that I wanted to kind of talk you through. And there are 2 different ranges. Like, we have Armani fragrances and there are 2 branches. There is Armani Privé, which is the higher end line. This is more expensive and this is more selectively available. It's not available, like I don't think you can get this range at Sephora, for example. You can get it at Armani beauty counters in higher end department stores. So from the Armani Privé line, I have Rose Milano. It's a delicate citrusy rose scent. It's a little bit earthy, a little bit green, but it's very lightweight. It's very airy. I actually talked about this in my March favorites video because it's a really beautiful spring fragrance. The top notes are pear, lemon, bergamot. The middle notes are rose and jasmine, and the base notes are moss and patchouli. So this is Rose Milano. This is my favorite, and this is the fragrance that Mr. Giorgio Armani himself wears, apparently. This is very much a unisex scent, maybe leaning more towards like traditionally masculine, but this is incredible. This is Bois d'Encens, and if you like spice, incense, earthy types of scents, then this is definitely worth checking out. This smells like church, but in a very elevated and luxurious way. Apparently, Mr. Armani, when he was kind of formulating this particular fragrance, he was inspired by a particular cathedral in Sicily. You almost smell that like coolness of marble and just, I don't know, entering a luxurious cathedral where everything is marble and there's incense burning. It's such an interesting scent, and I've been to the Armani Hotel in Dubai, and this is what they use to kind of scent the entire premises. So when you walk into the lobby of the hotel, you're kind of like greeted by this scent. I mean, arguably this was a long time ago. I don't know if that's still the case, but that's why I bought this, because it smelled so good. And they even had like hand soap. The hotel, I didn't stay at the hotel, but they told us that the hotel amenities all have this particular scent. So this definitely seems to be one of the signature scents of the line. I burned through it, I don't have it anymore, but I bought the matching candle a couple of times, and it's like one of my favorite candles to burn during Christmas time. Again, because it has that, almost has that like that incense church vibe to it. So Bois d'Encens is a fragrance from the Privé fragrance collection and a personal favorite of Mr. Giorgio Armani. This warm and dark woody fragrance includes only 5 ingredients, which were enough to capture the essence of the black stone from the beaches of Pantelleria Island. The main notes are incense, vetiver, and precious woods. In terms of my personal wish list when it comes to the Armani Privé fragrances, they recently launched a sandalwood fragrance that I'm just dying to check out. I'm dying to get my hands on it. It's called Santal Dawn Shah, and it's a woody, aromatic, warm, spicy sandalwood scent, which is right up my alley. So I'm very, very excited to explore that. That's one of the most recent launches that I haven't checked out yet, but that's next on my Armani fragrance wish list. Then in terms of the main line, I've had a few over the years, and like standout favorites have been Giorgio Armani Acqua di Gioia, which is so beautiful. If you like aquatic citrusy scents, especially in the summertime, that's a classic. Ocean di Gioia, which was like a flanker from the range, and it was even more aquatic. That was beautiful. It was like sparkling pear, citrus type of scent. I really like that. I used it all up. And then more recently, I used up the Giorgio Armani My Way fragrance. That's like a fall winter everyday fragrance for me. A really, really beautiful fruity floral. There's like a really beautiful berry note in there too. And that fragrance, they've since launched intense versions of that, which a lot of people in the fragrance community seem to go crazy over, but I've never tried the intense version. I only ever had the regular My Way, but I had the small bottle. So I kind of went through it quite quickly, but I really enjoyed that one. And then the fragrance that I'm wearing today is another classic. This is Si Passione, which is a flanker from the original Armani C. I don't love the original Armani C on me. Si Passione is definitely my favorite. There are a bunch of different versions of this. Sophisticated, fruity floral with woods and vanilla. So let me read you some of the notes. It's definitely sweeter than, like it leans sweeter than I typically like, but it still smells really, really good. I have to be in the mood for it though. So the main notes are pear, blackcurrant, pink pepper, and grapefruit. Middle notes are pineapple, rose, jasmine, and heliotrope. The base notes are vanilla, cedar, amberwood, and patchouli. It's so delightful. And that concludes my full face of Armani brand roundup video. Also had to throw in some fragrance in there because I personally think it's one of the strong suits of the brand as well, so might as well throw it in there. I would love to know what your Armani beauty favorites are in the comment section below. I am always excited to talk to you about beauty and to know the products that you're loving. And yeah, so I'll be talking to you in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a beautiful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.